if you have the chance,
just do it.
You go for it.
Yeah. That's my if you have talent and you are supported by people and you believe in yourself or you've got people that believe in you, you've got nothing to lose and everything to gain.
And if you don't have people that believe in you, who cares? Do it for you. Do it for you.
Do it.
Do it.
They will. People don't have your back. Have your own back, because never let anyone tell you no, because you will prove them wrong.
Bum, bum, ba, bum, 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 ba, bum, 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 bum. Who doesn't love the Olympics? I mean, it just seems to be like the most fun time to just have the TV on in your house and just be like having it as a background noise and just being like energetically empowered by these amazing specimens all over the globe. I mean, I don't know. What do you guys think?
I don't know. I feel like it's one of my favorite times of everything in sports. It's the highest stage in sports. It's a place where basically most athletes only dream of making it to this stage, where the ones that do, they give it their all. You fight so much adversity to actually make it to the Olympic Games. And when you get there, I mean, that's it. It's bigger than the Super Bowl. And it's amazing. And to hear the stories of all these athletes, because there's trials and tribulations, there's so much going on.
So much going on. Just like, thank you for tuning in to Girls Gone Gritty. There's always so much going on. And if you haven't figured it out already, we are talking about the 2024 Olympics. And we're so thankful and grateful for you tuning in with us today.
I don't know if you guys can see my USA on my sleeve. It's discreet, but it's there.
It is. We're always in USA.
Darian and I are a little sad that we did not don all of our.
I should have given you guys the memo, but I literally pulled this out of my laundry pile and was walking it back upstairs. And I was like, oh, USA, I'm going to wear that
USA,
today.
USA.
My jeans that have flags all over them. I'm like, wait, what country am I representing? I'm actually representing everything. There's some red, there's white, blue, black.
And that's one of the things.
I'm in hardcore workout, like let's work really hard camo mode so that you can represent everything.
What's my favorite moment from watching all the Olympics?
Oh my God, there's so many.
I mean, there's so many.
Well, listen, let's just say that like the beginning of the Olympics, I was a little confused. I was like, okay, Paris, we're definitely bringing in all the different levels of fashion. So that's interesting. I'm still curious as to the artist that came up with that. But after that, I did love to see the boats come in with everybody donning the flag. I know that they had to
backdrop.
They had to deal with a lot of adversity. They had terrible weather for the opening ceremony, so that's always tough. But I thought it was cool that they did. I never had seen anybody do it on the boats.
No, I don't know. As an athlete, I would much prefer them walking through town. I would love that because you're walking
the running torch. Like I wanted to see like an athlete holding the torch and like lighting the.
I did not like the guy jumping doing parkour over the buildings. That wasn't. I don't know, but I understand the message that they were trying to do.
Wasn't there like somebody on like a pseudo bicycle on the water carrying the torch?
It was all over.
Everything.
They tried to check I think artistically they were trying to check literally every box
and inclusive of everyone. Which is a wonderful thing.
Yeah,
we all agree with it. However, a lot of people definitely were disgruntled by the opening ceremony because it was so not traditionally what it has always been.
But it's Paris, and they're trying to capture their culture. And you had Moulin Rouge, I love the can girls up there, like shaking their dresses. What I loved for me, what I took away was there was a lot of redemption stories because there were so many athletes that had gone to Tokyo. And, it's a weird time because it was Tokyo, it's COVID moments. And these athletes like Simone Biles, you hear stories like that. She's incredible. You have, I'm just going to start listing them. But
let's just touch on Simone for 2 seconds because she's so worthy.
Oh, my gosh.
The fact that she was smart enough to recognize that her mental psyche was not where it needed to be. And she withdrew from the Olympics, which probably was the hardest thing she's ever had to do after really being at the hands of a disgusting, horrible abuser. Okay. So Larry Nassar, who abused me, I think I read somewhere like he's had his hands on over 280 women. So imagine being an athlete and competing at the highest level where your mental psyche is so important because one wrong move and you can break your neck. So
I've done it. Check. What?
exactly. Exactly. So the fact that she recognized that she just was not there, and she stepped away from, the most incredible moment of her life. I mean, multiple times. I mean, she's a very decorated, I think she had maybe 8 gold medals going into that. For her to step away and recognize that she wasn't there, I'm so thankful that she came back and freaking crushed it, not only as an individual, but as a team.
Well, yeah, I mean, she not only did she have the adversity of the abuser, but like, let's remember, Tokyo was during the global pandemic, and they pushed it through, and they didn't allow the athletes to have the infrastructure that they normally have. Like, according to her 2-part series that was on Netflix, like her mother was always at every single event, and her mother, was braiding her hair before every event, and just that mere connection and touch. It's
And
like it's
tradition.
and just like her knowing that her foundation was there, like, and again, operating in a global pandemic when the whole world is wackadoo and you're literally around the globe. Blame her. I agree with you. I applaud her
Takes strength.
for stepping off of the stage and being like, you know what, I'm not ready to do that. And wow, has she come back?
Well, it's overcoming the twisties, and the twisties is kind of something that happens in gymnastics. And look, put myself on top of peaks that when you get off out of the helicopter and it drops you off and you're looking down, and you can never second guess yourself. And I always say it's like 85% mental, because you already have the base of being an athlete. And for her to step down because of the twisties, but it's trusting your gut. And for her to have the courage to step down. I mean, there's been times that I've been skiing and about to drop into a line going, oh my gosh, I'm left on a peak by myself. The helicopter just dropped me off, and skiing a no fall zone, meaning you can't fall or you die. You have to be so immersed in the moment.
It's crazy.
And she, like, there's been many times I've been up there like, God, you have to trust your gut and you have to trust your instinct. And for me, there's no picking to have a helicopter pick you up. Like, there's no coming to get me. You got to just grind it out. But for her to know, all right, I think I give her courage. Like, I got to pull out and then to come in strong, because it's redemption story. You're coming back and you're dominating. And she's so cute.
Oh, she's
everything about her is just absolutely amazing. And that is an Olympic athlete. That's an Olympic story.
You know what else she did? Not only did she prove to be human, because she actually did step out of bounds on 2 of her on her floor exercise, and she was the favorite times 1,000 to win that. And when she didn't, I'll tell you, the girl from Brazil, I can't think of her last name right now. She's an amazing. She won the floor exercise. And there's a picture that everybody can see.
One of the most iconic sportsmanship moments in the Olympics was when Simone Biles and Jordan Chiles bowed down to Rebecca Andrade. I mean, talk about class. That was so moving. And it was the first, I think, photo of 3 African-American women on the podium at the same time, medaling.
They're bowing down to
the
her.
acts of kindness. That was one thing that just stuck out so much. And it's as an athlete, you want that. And I saw so much of acts of kindness going on in the Olympics. Look at Nadal and Djokovic. Those two, they're hugging it out with tears.
They played 60 times against each other in the past for like titles. And I mean, the fact that they're each other's steepest competition, but they respect each other so much. And that's what I saw in that moment with Biles.
Yep.
I was like, this is a beautiful thing. And after each one would compete in whatever their floor exercise, the beam, whatever their event was, I saw camaraderie between her and this Brazilian. And the Brazilian, I want to say I heard a story, and we're going to have to fact check this, that
Check it, Jen.
financially, it was a struggle for her to continue to practice. She had to walk 2 hours to practice, and her siblings would walk to and from with her to make sure that she was safe. I mean, what this kid went through to really become a highly decorated medalist is even a bigger story.
That's what it's about.
Yes.
And
Unity.
Look, when you look at the Olympics, it's just one event, and people train 4 years for it. So when you in
all
your
their
sport,
lives for it.
yeah, but all your lives, but you slowly work up to it, and it's the pinnacle of your athletic career. But for athletes, my friends, ton of them that were gold medals and everything, they said it's just an event. I mean, it's part of being Olympics. You're representing your country, but it's one event. It's not like you have US Open, you have World Championships, you have World Cups, you have all these events kind of leading into it. There's so much pressure, and it's like the agony of defeat if you can't make it. Like, there's so much pressure, but when you win, it's a high like no other.
I mean, look at Djokovic. I always say his name incorrectly. He's won everything that you can win except for a gold medal. So he was going for a Grand Slam.
Yeah.
Which is, they call it the Golden Slam. So at 37 years old, he joins Rafael Nadal and Andre Agassi as the third man to win all 4 Grand Slams and a gold medal in singles. Wow. I mean, are you kidding me?
That's amazing.
That is just insane. And you look at these guys that go out and play something and they win $1 million purse at the end of it. You know, you're not winning any money in this. You're winning a gold medal, a silver, a bronze, and clout for the rest of your life as a
bragging rights.
Yes, it's like the biggest bragging rights.
We had one of our friends, Tyler. He came over. He won a bronze in the Paralympics. Like, badass. He is the coolest cat, and he stayed at the house, and he was passing around his bronze medal. And I went to put it on. He goes, "Oh, because if you put it around your neck, it's going to jinx you. You're not going to win." And I'm like, "Ooh, all right. I'll just take it. I don't want to put it on just in case, I'm crusty and they bring back like the Masters Olympics or something like that." No. And then going back to Masters, you realize, how about all these young events, like these events that are like so modern, breakdancing.
Hello.
Oh, I mean,
they said goodbye to softball and baseball, and
which is kind of crazy,
and hello to breakdancing.
Which I'm not sure I completely agree with.
I agree.
I feel like, like hopping on the latest and greatest fad. And listen, they have opened up Olympics to like, I'm watching things and I'm like, wait, what's that sport? I mean, we were watching handball yesterday and it's like, oh my God, that's so fun. But we were watching the handball, and I have 2 Danish, I'll say exchange students, but they're really not. One went to Monmouth University and the brother's here. And they're like, it's huge in Denmark. Like, they play it all the time. Like, it's just, I love the fact that there's like this opening of like your eyes as to what's important and what's imperative in different parts of the world, and things that you didn't even realize were like something that people spend all their time with. And I was trying to get them to explain the rules, and I was like, I don't know what that sounds like. I'm like, and then what about like the 3-on-3 basketball? What's that?
I don't like that.
I don't like it.
What I thought was cool was rugby, and that
is a hardcore badass sport. Those are some tough chicks and dudes.
That was amazing. You know who I think are the gnarliest goalies in all the sports are men's field hockey. Oh my gosh. You have the goalie, and then the players stand right next to him, and they have slap shots, wrist shots, everything firing at these like players, and they're just getting hit and crushed. No pads. I'm like, oh my God, you guys are legends. I played in high school, but that's as far as I thought you would go.
What about the fact that tug of war used to be in the Olympics? But you get it. Back in that era,
it's whatever's next.
I mean, that was an important race.
Well, and it was also simple. And it was simple, entry point. You could just put your biggest, strongest people and, showcase that. I mean, how much that's changed. It's really crazy. And then the scope and the breadth of the sport the number of sports is insane.
Technology also plays a huge factor, how much these sports have changed, kind of the strategy, the way that the sports are. I mean, hockey changed the rules years ago.
They changed a lot of these rules so that they can be televised, so that they can speed things up, like volleyball, for instance.
Yes, stand-up paddling. They're going to a short course in front. But think about L.A. in 4 years. I'm going.
Oh, I hope we're all going, and I hope we're all wearing a certain person's name. I'm not putting it out there in a net, like in a.
Oh,
I don't want to whammy anything, but I will say that lacrosse will be in the Olympics, men's and women's lacrosse, in 2028 in LA. So for all you lax lovers, or for the people that are listening that might not really know what lacrosse is, it's a phenomenal sport. It was invented by the Indians. They would play for days and weeks, and before big rituals and before fights. And I mean, it's an amazing, amazing sport.
But they're changing that too, right, Farah? They're changing that format for the Olympics.
Once again, to speed it up. So it's, instead of it being like 11 people, it's going to be called sixes. It's going to be a roster of 12 instead of like 11 players and a goalie. They're only carrying 2 goalies. And I think that means 8 players. And it's all about increasing the speed of the game. Like volleyball, when I played in college, if you served a ball and it hit the net or tipped the net and still went over, it was a side out. But because they wanted to, increase kind of like the drama of the game, they made it rally scoring. So it's a game to 25 now, and it's fast, and the tape matters, and it's not a side out anymore. And
that's because the attention of human beings has gone like down. And that's why, like, going back to you saying that like baseball and softball's out, it takes entirely too long to play the game, and nobody wants to tune in for that long. And you lose viewerships, and that's a bummer. And I look back on I mean, the Olympics started, only allowing professional athletes. Like, there was a whole caveat up until 1992 where you could not have made any $1 and still be in the Olympics. And really, our relationship with Russia changed that, because Russia was like, well, they won't really get compensated, but they're paying for them for everything. The state's paying for them for everything. And we would we would lose in sports like basketball, where we obviously would dominate. And the United States changed their way. And the other thing that happened around the same time period was the ability for television to come into everybody's house and to increase the viewership. Like, now you have not only professional athletes able to perform, you have the television, but you also have like all these companies aligning. And if you look at the volume of global companies that are puppeteering what is happening behind the scenes of the Olympics, and the power of the IOC, and how they give rights to who gets like the opportunity to broadcast here in the United States, it's NBC. But, my kids and I were trying to watch some things, and you have to go on Peacock if you want to watch surfing. You have to go on. Yeah, you can't watch everything. Right. And then the other thing that everybody needs to remember is like the narrative that we see in the Olympics isn't the same narrative. Like, I was in Mexico last week, and like they're obviously showing all the Mexico games, as they should. Not saying that, but so everybody's getting their narrative based on
where they live,
what the media chooses to do. And I tried to research a little bit, like, well, what are they seeing in China and in a place, and like North Korea, places where they control a lot of the things of the population. And I couldn't even Google it. I couldn't even get like a fact on like how their citizens are able to view their Olympians, Well, let's go back to
redemption.
Let's go back to like, let's just stay with the differences in countries, right? And like what we've got going on there. And what I found out was really interesting was that the compensation, going back to it. So I have a little stat where certain countries actually pay their Olympians. So the United States, we're like toward the bottom. We pay our Olympians, if you win a gold, these are gold medals, $38,000 if I win a gold medal. That's how much the United States.
Have we always done?
I don't think so. It came out. It's kind of like gone on this like upward trend, and I think it obviously has to do with like more medals.
$1,000?
It was not a lot. You had to, if you were a pro athlete back in the day, before you were talking about, you had to not accept money or do any contest that you would actually accept any like winnings for 2 years. So no pro status, go back to an amateur status, get rid of all your sponsors, and then you could be brought and be able to try out for the Olympics, to try to make it.
Yeah.
Because you're taking all their sponsors.
It's just unrealistic, because at this point, if you're dedicating your life to this sport, you cannot make money doing anything else. How are you going to afford to be able to continue your journey if you do come from an impoverished background?
Well, that's the golden ticket here, right? Like, and that's why you see like a lot of the African nations that can dominate in running, because really you need zero, right? If you're in a pool, or if you're on an ice, an ice court, you don't need a horse, right? You don't need all this gear.
Polo.
You don't need field time. You don't need court time. You don't need, So there is a huge inequity. But think about this inequity. China, on the other hand, who I'm not even sure where they televise their events, right? And they don't have a whole bunch of advertisers because it's all state and government run. They pay their athletes $758,000 for a gold medal. So there's huge
that's
incentive. And
training.
the number 2 country is Singapore. They pay $745,000 for a gold medal. Indonesia pays $300,000. And then Israel, Kazakhstan, Malaysia, Spain. And then there's countries like Great Britain that they do not, or not, like Norway, another one.
I'm
They
actually
do
shocked
not.
that we do. I did not know that.
Yep.
I wonder when that began. And $38,000, like, what's the point?
Well, no, the point is that you have each athlete, you have sponsors, and those sponsors will give you victory schedule. They have, meaning that wherever you place, you get bonuses. They give you your like your salary.
That makes
then they'll
sense
give
to
you
me.
your travel budget. Then they give you photo incentives. Then they give you video incentives. So they give you so many like incentives that it's like that pays.
I mean,
for
obviously,
itself.
when
and victory schedule
win a
huge.
gold medal or any medal, you get automatic fame. So I see post Olympics a lot of commercials and things.
course.
So they're going to make money on the back end. But I did not realize that you are paid per medal.
And again, dependent upon the country. It's not like a across the board IOC says like anybody who gets a medal, not only do you get a gold, but you get $50,000.
But that's
or you know what I
in all
mean?
sports. Like when I races that I've done, US Open won. When I got X Games, I think I got $4,000 for podium, and then for my sponsors and all my payouts, I made 25 grand. So technically, I made almost $30,000 to place silver in the X Games, which I'm still mad about. But it's you made all this other money from other sponsors, so it makes it kind of worth it, and you're doing what you love.
Right.
So.
Yeah, but it's a slippery slope because when you look at like, certain countries, and this is a, harsh reality of where we are, there's certain countries that they have an infrastructure not only to fundamentally raise the athlete, right? Whether that's a college that pays for your school, right? And now I go to college on a athletic scholarship. So like that's a training ground, right? And then if you're good enough, then hopefully you get picked up on like at a national team, and then you have sponsorships. Like that's a US model, right? Other countries, it's like blood, sweat, and tears. Like nobody is paying for it unless you're, able to figure it out on your own. So, I'm sure there's a lot of really, really talented human beings that aren't able to harness their true potential because there's not that infrastructure.
Yeah, but going to the Olympics, it's not about making money. It's not about getting there and I want to make $10,000 because I won. It's about the journey, because you're putting your heart and soul into training. You're putting your heart and soul into recovering when you get injured. You're losing sponsors. You're losing teammates. So let's talk
coaches. You have a staff that's around you, that's supporting you, and those people need salaries because they're dedicating their entire lives to teeing you up as an athlete.
Right.
So it's a business.
So
1,000%.
think about
but they don't. I agree with you, Dave. They don't get into it for the financial reward. You can't do that.
And you keep going back. So let's talk about my good friend of ours, the Height family. They're from Spring Lake. So their nephew, Michael Grady, U.S. rowing team gold medalist. So the last time the U.S. won a gold medal in rowing was in Rome in 1960. That was 64 years ago. So you have U.S. rowing, heavy accolades, academic accolades. I mean, Michael Grady is like the most incredible human. I've been researching it more and more because it's my friend's nephew. Would be like me watching Chase or Mackenzie going to the Olympics. So he makes the cut. He spends the next 3 years grinding it out. So now you're like, okay, you know what? I'm gonna give it my all because I want to go to the next Olympics. So there's no coverage on them. They're predicted not even really to win at all. So if you noticed, when they won and they beat out New Zealand basically in under a second the timing,
it was like just the clips of them winning instead of
watching
the
event. Stories, because they didn't, like, no one believed. But he went out and he trained for 4 years, gave up everything. He's not, I don't know who he's getting paid for. I don't know the salary, but he didn't care. It was all about getting the gold. I'm going to put my eye on the prize.
It doesn't matter about the gold so much as if I had the opportunity to play for my country in any sport, regardless of whether I medal or not, to be a part of that demographic would be a highlight of
Oh my gosh,
my
to just be an
entire life.
Olympian, to
Just
be
an
to
Olympian.
be there. I mean,
Yeah.
so many kids we know that we have a friend who had tried for the Olympic trials when running, and he didn't make it. And I'm sure that like he'll try again because that's who
Well,
he is. But like to understand that like the Olympians, and a lot of them don't medal, don't place, don't like get injured
They're all
before they
getting
even
the
get there.
tattoo of the
They're
Olympic
oh
5
my
rings.
gosh,
Yeah, wearing it
1000%,
and tatting it, and I would have it smeared all over me.
1000%.
the question that Chris and everyone's saying already is, are you going to give it your all and go for LA? I mean, meanwhile, these guys, they're trying to find footage of them grinding it out.
Terrible.
And they pulled it out because literally New Zealand, they're known for their finish, where Americans are known for kind of their start and being consistent. And in the last little bit, they went into a sprint and beat them underneath a second. And now the stories are popping out like, oh, he's a beekeeper and likes Rubik's Cube and all these
that's so
stories, and it's all about his family. And I love it because you feel almost close to them.
Wow,
Because
everybody has a connection to somebody indirectly that you start adopting as your own. There's definitely people in this community. In fact, we have somebody that will be competing in the Winter Olympics, Charlie Voker. And he was a phenomenal football player at Princeton that turned into what is it? When you run with the snowmobile? Bobsled. He's a freaking bobsledder now. He qualified for that, which is absolutely insane. And he will be competing again in the next Winter Olympics.
Oh, it's so fun to live it like that.
Story. So
of course,
I broke my neck. Obviously, I say it a lot. So
well, when you break your neck, you're entitled to talk about it
because you can still talk
in context. So I break my neck, and it's 6 bones, and I'm in ICU, and come in, and oh my gosh, I said, I'm a dual citizen. I said, I have my Irish citizenship. And he's like, great, and starts talking, and he's about to, I have 6 bones broken, my left arm's paralyzed, and he looks at me, and I go, and my sister and I are going to try to do the bobsled for Ireland, so can you fix me? He goes, well, I'm going to plate you in the front, and I'll plate you in the back, because in case you want to go to the Olympics for Ireland, you're in. So that's my little sidebar for...
That's a pretty good...
That's funny.
Well, wait a minute. That makes me want to talk about one of the best things that I've seen in the Olympics this year. I mean, my favorite moment ever is a little controversial because it is a pole vaulter who is American and was born and raised in Louisiana and went to LSU and absolutely could have medaled for his country. But his mother is Swedish. His brother also pole vaulted for the country of Sweden. A coach recognized that at 14 years old, he was airing it out, at an age that other people that were twice his age couldn't even do. So they started to try to see if they could pull. And his dad is American and was like, no, I'm definitely not into this. But because the Americans do not, USAIOC does not allow parents to coach. Did you know that? So Mondo Duplantis decided that he would play for Sweden only because Sweden allows parents that are coaches to be your coach.
Oh, that's a good reason. And I like that reason.
And his father was an incredible pole vaulter. So it's not like he just decided to cling on to his son and go along for the journey. He was the reason that Mondo began pole vaulting, and that's exactly why. So for all of you wondering why he did not compete on behalf of USA, it's because really he wanted his dad to be able to continue on this journey with him.
I love that.
What I want to read, because not only did he win a gold, okay?
He set a world record.
He beat his own world.
No, he set a world record again.
I know, but he beat himself.
Yeah, but I mean, he continues to raise the bar on the world record.
But he broke his own world record for the 9th time.
Right.
No one else.
Right.
He just beats himself every
right.
time. Yep.
And I think he could go higher because if you watched him, I honestly, I think the second time he took it and missed it, I think it was intentional because if you watch the camera, he sat down and he did a little funny thing with his lip. And I was like, oh, he so had that. He wanted to build up the momentum. And here's the part. I don't blame the guy, can do whatever he wants. He's a world record holder and an amazing pole vaulter, and he can pole vault for whoever he wants. But he was building that crowd because he knows he wants sponsors. and he wants.
He got everybody.
He got everybody to clap. He was a showman. He's a show. He was a showman,
and he's cute.
He's adorable.
And he's dating this beautiful little Swedish model, and they know exactly how to work the system, and they're working it.
Were you watching the steeplechase, the steeplechase that they do on the track and field? Which I thought was so fun.
How about the guy who fell down on his face and he didn't move because people
God.
were jumping over him?
It was crazy. And then what about the guy who missed the steeplechase because there was somebody that intervened? And did you know, I was like obsessed with the story because I was like, oh, this poor guy, he was like in qualifying space and he missed it and he did the right thing. He didn't try and pretend that he hit it or whatever and finish. He went back over and ended up coming in sixth. I think only the top 5 won. And I have this stat. But
I love it.
Anyway, so I looked it up because I wanted to see like what happened. Well, for spoiler alert, and it's already happened. He did not get a medal. But they did enlist a little like unknown rule where if there's a reason why you get like pushed out or whatever, they can put you into the next round, which I think is so great about some of these sports that have multiple heats, because there are things where it's like one and done. You don't make it. There's not like a second heat or like the next opportunity
to be a qualifier.
Yeah, it was a qualifier.
Yeah.
So like I think that's really cool where they have some rules to protect the people that are not treated fairly when they're on this world stage.
You look at the U.S. surfer. How adorable was she? I mean, first of all, to go surf Chopu, one of the heaviest, deadliest
crazy
waves that just detonate on the reef and just jacks up, and
like a skyscraper.
Mother Nature always will win when you're surfing Chopes. And she dominated that wave. And I love, and once again, team spirit, camaraderie. She comes, she gets onto the beach and everyone picks her up and someone's holding their board and they're like, it was great.
How about former NBA?
But I didn't like the fact that you couldn't watch it because on Peacock. Like, I mean, the access to entry to stuff like that is kind of infuriating to me, because that means that there's people that won't watch it because they can't pay for it. I don't like that. I don't like, and who makes that decision as to like what is going to be the cost to the consumer and what's not? It's annoying.
It's just who's airing it. Like, so men's rowing, the finals were on Thursday at 5 a.m. So everybody got up at 5 to go watch Grady row, and it was worth getting up, cocktails, and just cheering on for USA. But unless you know, and unless you have a connection, you're not getting up.
No, it's true.
Or well, they put basketball
like you're going to rewatch it like after the fact, because I've seen a lot of that. I've been able to see headlines the next day because I watch it. So it is out there. You could go to YouTube. You could like search something.
Yeah, but I mean live. I mean, if you want to watch it live, I want to watch it live. I'm so annoyed when I pull it up and I'm like, it doesn't say live underneath the Olympic thing. I'm like, that's the rerun, and no thanks.
How about former NBA player Chase Boldinger wins his first Olympic beach volleyball match? So he traded in his hoops, his basketball. We actually started playing beach volleyball, and he won a freaking medal in the Olympics. I mean, is that incredible?
It's just determination. It's making the cut. And that's what happens is, as an athlete,
he played for the Houston Rockets, the Minnesota Timberwolves, and then shifted focus to beach volleyball in 2017. Only 7 years later, making his Olympic debut and celebrating their victory. They defeated the French team for a gold in straight sets.
That's just a hardcore athlete. Like that's like when you're just an athlete to your bones, and you want to figure out a way to win in the best way possible, and you pivot. It's one of my favorite words. You want to be part of it. You want to be a part of a winning team. And listen, the saturation, I'm sure at like his level, is probably crazy in the NBA. And like, okay, let's go try. And listen, beach volleyball doesn't stink. I mean, that's a fun game.
Michael Jordan went to baseball. I feel like Tom Brady was a baseball player before he was a football player.
Michael Jordan he's into big game fishing. He has giant boat. There's like tournaments. He's always out there fishing for giants.
Somebody else did that in golf. Greg Norman.
The guy.
He did the same thing. Wait, I was going to also say that 4 gold medals turned 22-year-old swimmer Leo Marchand from a promising star into a French legend in a span of days. I mean, he wasn't even on the map, and now he's got 4 golds.
Well, you're on the world stage, I mean,
crazy.
you show up on the world stage,
and then you perform.
I mean,
well, think about also
it's game changer.
Kristen Faulkner She was the cyclist who came in as she was an alternate. She trained in New York City by riding the Loop, literally in Central Park. Came in as an alternate, like, okay, just throw her in the mix, and she's a gold medal winner, and she's adorable.
It's unbelievable.
And trained like in
stories
the
like
city,
this.
you never know, and that's like you were talking about with as far as funding. If you get the nod, you go, and whatever it takes to go to get there to be a part of the Olympics, because the Olympics isn't just about winning; it's about the camaraderie. It's about
American pride or whatever your country's pride. It is.
It's about just
Excelsior
being there, and just sportsmanship is huge.
I want to be in the village. I wish somebody would do a documentary on what happens in the Olympic Village.
Oh, I know.
I'm sure they don't want to. They don't want you to know.
To know.
I know. So do I.
There's.
I'm sure the Olympians don't really want you to know.
So a lot of the athletes were staying on like big ships. So there's like, you're allowed into one Olympic Village, and when your time is up, you're okay. Next, the whole next group comes in. So when your time is up, you have to go.
After you win your gold, you party, and then you're gone.
And
or you're
all the hotels were booked up, so they had boats that people stayed on, and people get after it. Like the athletes, it's a love fest.
How could you not? I mean, after you're done and you've worked that hard, I mean, you deserve a really big party.
Yes.
They
regardless
of for all the athletes.
I mean, think about it. You're putting everything first, and anything that's like really fun second. What did you just say? I'm scared that I missed it, but I guess
it's all good. Double entendre.
Like a lot. Then they just go through.
Well, I know it was sponsored by condom company.
No, and that's where. Yes. So that's where.
On another note, I will say one of my absolute favorite moments, besides watching Mondo do what he did,
was when Cole Hocker won the 1500 meter against Jacob Ingebrigtsen from Norway and Josh Kerr from Great Britain, two smack-talking arch rivals that the media just fixated on. And because they were so worried and trash-talking one another, Cole Hocker found an open lane that led him to the gold. And it was a massive upset. For Jacob Ingebrigtsen not even to medal, the world was pretty shocked. And for Cole Hocker to beat his own personal best by 3 seconds to win the gold was incredible to watch.
He freaking crushed the self-claimed, I am the best, I will win, I'm untouchable, yet this guy didn't even medal. So be careful what you put out there, because if you're a little too braggadocious or a little too confident and you put something out there into the universe, yikes, beware, because he didn't even medal.
How about the surfer when he goes off the one wave and just holding up his finger? It's like the iconic shot. His board's here, the wave's up top, and he's just holding it number one. And it wasn't in the finals.
Oh, stop.
Yeah. But then he deserved it. He had surfed the best chope who's ever been surfed before. How about Suni Lee?
Oh,
like,
God. I mean, she
had
coming all of her kidney
all the kidney issues, gained 40 pounds, and then started training for with the gold medal team, and then all of a sudden medals. I mean, that's what being an athlete is. It's overcoming obstacles.
Yep.
I remember breaking my leg at the World Extreme Skiing Championships in Kirkwood. It was the first time that they had ever, extreme skiing, we were still kind of pioneering, figuring out like the rules, the regulations, where you go. So we are now at Kirkwood for the finals, and they opened up this peak for us, and it was up in a zone that no one had ever skied before. So whatever, it's people are going, all of a sudden it's like friends are getting airlifted in front of me. I'm up start, like, yes, waiting, like, all right, it's my turn. Oh, someone punctured lung, airlifted broken leg, blah, 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 blah. Goes to go, my turn. My grandfather, as I'm skiing, pulling me, who's in heaven, like, go left, go left. No, I know every turn going through the chute. Long story short, I break my tibia plateau. I skied down the whole run on one leg after breaking it, and came home, had surgery. And normally people would say, you know what, you've broken 25, 30 bones. Like, time to give it up.
Darian says I'm only halfway there.
I'm like, you know what?
She's like Mr.
No.
Potato Head.
I
could just pull it out and put it back. She is Mrs. Potato Head, by the way.
so what do? I'm like, you know what? I get better. I get surgery. I'm like, my next goal, I have X Games in my mind. I mean, I'm on the table. Franny, my surgeon, Dr. Flum, Franny, put me together my whole life. Thank you, Franny. Still sending him x-rays. Put me together. And I was like, nope. Okay. Switch it to you're hurt. You're better. My eyes were on the X Games. And it was just super focused on that. And that's what these athletes do. You know, you're not done.
Time. Nope. You know?
It's like you have a screw loose in your brain that makes you go, I'm going to get hurt. I'm going to get injured, or I lost. And no, I want it more than anything. And I fought. I trained. I went on just another level because it was just in my vision. Like a lot of these athletes that came from Tokyo who lost, who got hurt, they had their eye on Paris. And it's like that same sort of feeling of you want it so bad. And unfortunately,
you're either wired like that or you're not.
Yeah, and unfortunately, I broke my ski in the finals and got a silver. But you know, I feel all these athlete stories, and there's so many good ones.
How about Katie Ledecky?
Oh my!
I mean,
gosh.
she surpasses the record for the most winningest American woman in Olympics history. I mean,
so fast. You're just like,
she's amazing.
I mean, wow. You know, I mean, we are watching household names develop right in front of us. And that's what I love about the Olympics so much, is that it's a time for you to sit down with your family. I look forward to just sitting down and watching whatever, even if it was like table tennis. I actually watched ping pong. And I actually think two people that won gold medals or medaled proposed to their significant other who also happened to be competing in the Olympics.
Right.
So there are two proposals that happened this Olympics. I mean, what a beautiful time of year. What a fabulous tradition for you to do with family and friends.
It brings
supporting
families
all the
together.
It brings supporting everybody.
Totally.
It brings family. So when the Olympic opening ceremonies happen, Jeff, it was in the morning, he goes, come on, we all have to be home. I'm like, for what? He's like, the opening ceremonies. I want to share this with Dee Dee. 3 of us sit down and we watch it as a family, because he did it with his 2 boys.
Same.
He did it with his 2 boys. And during the Olympics, they sat and they watched it. And then he had his own Olympics for his boys, like throughout the couple weeks. And it brings your families together. Like Dee Dee, Jeff, and I will wake up in the morning and we're watching it. And then all the kids came over. We always have the Olympics.
Think about the household names. I can still say Mitch Gaylord and Bart Connors and Mary Lou Retton and, you know,
Luganis
and
Nadia Comaneci. And
I mean,
like
think about the 80s. And I was sitting there as excited to watch the Olympics with my parents as they were to have me watching it, and their household names. So all these names that we've mentioned today, a lot of them are going to become iconic names that you will remember when you're our age, if you're younger than us.
And all the new ones that will come out, because the athletes that were here, because they are so young and there's new sports being introduced, they're looking ahead to
Jenny
4 years
Thompson.
to LA.
I mean,
like LA is right around the corner. 4 years. The question is, you have to absorb and enjoy the moment of the Olympic Games. And then at what point you go, okay, my eyes are now on LA and I'm going to win again. And that's where we were, you know, Michael Grady, hey, is the U.S. rowing going to go and try to take it again? Is U.S. men's volleyball going to dominate? Because now you're going to LA, to your home turf. And these younger kids in every sport are now going to become household names. And we're going to watch their journey through all the different events.
And we're also going to have to keep our eyes on the refugee team. I mean, how crazy is that? I mean, truly, if your country doesn't allow you to participate and you have all these skills and all these fantastic,
how did they do?
Honestly, I'm going to have to do a little more info, like a little more intel on the refugee team. But I do believe that some of them have exceeded expectations.
I loved them on their boat. They were just like,
here. Yeah.
That's the lands in the Mississippi.
A little bit. I mean,
but it's great. Hey, they're athletes. They got there. Whatever you have to do. And if you love your sport so much, like how about the Jamaican bobsled team back in the day?
Yeah.
I mean, hey, go for it. Just that you want to be representing your country. Yeah. I think it's just a feeling that you get to just be part of something, whether you win, lose, or it's the camaraderie, whatever your mindset is.
Yeah.
Just being present there.
And you don't have to be an Olympian to compete. Like that's the other
No.
message that we want to give to like everybody. It's like the Olympians should be inspiring us. They should be inspiring us to, that's why we love the story of adversity, and we love like watching these amazing people rise from the most challenging of times against the most competitive of people. But she wasn't an Olympian to my knowledge, but like the story about like Diane Nyad, where she was not able to do it in her prime, and decided that, what, at 63 or 4, I think it is, she decided to tackle something that had eluded her most of her life. So to everybody out there, I'd say watch the Olympics, get excited about being, an athlete in whatever capacity that is. From episodes prior, like play well, like win, lose, not how you play the game. From our cheater episode, like do it well, do it with pride, do it with your country's pride wherever you are. And really dig deep into yourself and figure out what's possible, because that's, I think, that what is the best about the Olympics is anything is possible when you work hard, put your mind to it, and
find your favorite athlete and kind of watch them grow. Look at Gabby Thomas, how adorable. I love her.
I mean, talk about an
love
overachiever. Oh my God, Harvard.
And she's so beautiful, and she's
beautiful, fast as hell.
But she was so
great idol for
confident
people to, want to emulate.
Yeah, emulating, and that's one of Jeff's favorites. My husband's favorite athletes, because he can relate. He was a sprinter and he was a pole vaulter.
I'm sure there's more to it than that.
Yeah,
she's not hard on the eyes,
but look,
she's incredibly articulate and well spoken.
But she had hard road.
Talk about total package.
But she had hard road. She was winning. She was one of the top in her field at that time, and she didn't know if she wanted to continue on this mission to be a pro athlete, because she was at Harvard and everything she was doing. And she struggled, like, do I stay in? Do I go? Because that's the hardest part of an athlete is
you're in your prime.
When do you retire?
There was like a 40-year-old guy in skateboarding. And I can't think of his name, but I read this story yesterday, and he was like the oldest Grom not. And he had a ton of respect because he qualified and he performed and he did well. He didn't medal, but he was the oldest dog on the...
Gotta have a dog in the fight.
It's just a number.
Exactly.
It's
so you know what?
Number.
Go for it. That's it.
Go for it.
If you have the chance,
just do it.
You go for it.
Yeah.
That's my if you have talent and you are supported by people and you believe in yourself, or you've got people that believe in you, you've got nothing to lose and everything to gain.
And if you don't have people that believe in you, who cares? Do it for you. Do it for you.
Do it. Because they will. People don't have your back. Have your own back. Because never let anyone tell you no, because you will prove them wrong.
And you will find people that have your back, like we do here on Girls Gone Gritty. Because you know what? We love having these conversations about real stuff and the challenges that we face and the adversity we come through, and coming together as a united front. So
we need more worldwide events that we can all really be excited about, supporting one another, seeing other people do great things from different countries. I mean, we are the world. That was a beautiful concert because it was unity. So there needs to be more, worldwide events that we can get excited about. We can participate together and find commonality aside from politics and crap, like things that we all are attracted to and that we all have in common. The sky is blue everywhere and the sun rises everywhere and the ocean, continues to swirl everywhere. So that's what we have to find, is the commonality that we as the human race all have, and figure out how we can support more of it together.
Sports bring people together.
Music brings people together.
Sports do not discriminate. And Girls Gone Gritty does not discriminate. We love it. Thank you so much for listening, and tune in next time. We might have some more fun stuff to talk about. USA, baby.
Hey, and we love the world. We are the world.
Go to girlsgonegritty.com and let us know who your favorite athlete is.